Stop chasing. Stop explaining. Stop shrinking yourself just to be chosen. The moment you lower your standards, you don't become easier to love. You become easier to use. Stoicism teaches a brutal truth. Real power is calm, self-respecting, and unmoved by rejection. You never lose when you refuse to beg. You never lose when you protect your peace. And you never lose when you choose dignity over approval. In this video, you'll discover 5 Stoic lessons that will help you never lose to anyone. Not in relationships, not in life, and not within yourself. Let's begin with the first lesson. Why having standards is not arrogance, but strength. Standards are not walls you build to keep people out. They are boundaries you set to protect what matters inside. Many people believe that lowering their standards will make them more lovable. In reality, it only makes them more convenient. When you tolerate disrespect, inconsistency, or half-effort, you teach others how to treat you. Not with words, but with permission. Epictetus once asked, "How long are you going to wait before you demand the best for yourself?" That question cuts deep because it exposes a hard truth. Every time you abandon your standards, you abandon yourself. Stoicism never teaches arrogance. It teaches clarity. Having standards doesn't mean you think you're better than others. It means you know what behavior you will and will not accept. And the people who react negatively to your boundaries are often the same people who benefited when you had none. Standards are a filter, not a weapon. They quietly separate those who respect you from those who only want access to you. When someone says, "You're too demanding," what they often mean is, "I'm no longer comfortable giving you less than you deserve." A self-respecting person doesn't argue with that. They simply step back and observe. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." In modern life, that means you don't chase validation. You don't negotiate your worth. You don't explain why you deserve basic respect. You walk away calmly, without drama, without bitterness, and without apology. This is where true strength begins, not in forcing others to rise, but in refusing to sink. And once you stop trading your peace for acceptance, something powerful happens. You realize that protecting your inner calm matters more than meeting anyone else's expectations. That leads directly to the second Stoic lesson: why your peace should never be sacrificed for someone else's chaos. Your peace is not a luxury. It is the foundation of your strength. Many people feel obligated to absorb other people's emotional storms, their anger, insecurity, drama, and unresolved pain. They believe that being understanding means being available for chaos. Stoicism teaches the opposite. Compassion does not require self-destruction. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." The moment you allow someone else's instability to dictate your inner state, you hand that power away. Chaos is contagious. When you stay too close to it, you begin to normalize stress, confusion, and emotional volatility. Over time, you stop noticing how heavy it feels, until calm starts to feel unfamiliar. Protecting your peace does not mean becoming cold or indifferent. It means choosing distance instead of conflict, silence instead of escalation, boundaries instead of emotional warfare. A Stoic does not argue with disorder. They step out of its radius. When someone brings constant tension into your life, you are not obligated to fix them, rescue them, or carry their emotional weight. That responsibility belongs to them. Your responsibility is to remain steady. Seneca warned that no man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity. But facing adversity does not mean living inside unnecessary turmoil. There's a difference between hardship that builds character and chaos that drains it. Peace is expensive. Chaos is cheap. Anyone can bring noise. very few can bring calm. When you stop sacrificing your inner quiet for someone else's dysfunction, something shifts. You become less reactive, more selective, harder to manipulate. People either adjust their behavior around you or remove themselves. Both outcomes are victories. And once you protect your peace, you naturally stop trying to prove your worth to people who don't value it. That brings us to the third Stoic lesson: why you must stop explaining your value to the wrong audience. One of the quietest ways people lose themselves is by trying to be understood by those who never intended to understand them. Explaining your value to the wrong audience is exhausting because it turns self-respect into performance. You start over-justifying your decisions, over-giving your energy, and over-communicating your worth, hoping that clarity will create appreciation. It rarely does. Seneca warned, "If a man knows not which port he sails, no wind is favorable." When you seek validation from people who don't share your values, no amount of explanation will ever feel enough. Stoicism teaches that worth is not negotiated, it is embodied. The moment you feel the urge to convince someone to respect you, you've already placed yourself beneath them. Not because you are less, but because you are asking permission to be valued. The wrong audience doesn't listen to understand. They listen to assess what they can extract. They measure you by convenience, not character. And the more you explain, the more you invite judgment from people who lack the capacity to see you clearly. A Stoic does not chase applause. They choose alignment. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself to waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. The same applies here. Stop explaining who you are. Live in a way that makes explanation unnecessary. Not everyone deserves access to your inner world. Silence is not avoidance. It is discernment. When you withdraw your energy from the wrong crowd, you preserve it for those who recognize your presence without persuasion. And here is the paradox. When you stop proving yourself, people either rise to meet your level or fade away. Both outcomes restore your balance. You were never meant to be understood by everyone. You were meant to be true to yourself. And once you accept that, the next Stoic lesson becomes unavoidable. How to walk away with dignity, even when it hurts. Walking away is often misunderstood as weakness. In reality, it is one of the highest expressions of strength. Most people stay too long, in relationships, conversations, and environments that quietly erode their self-respect, because leaving feels like losing. Stoicism teaches the opposite. Leaving with dignity is not defeat, it is clarity. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." Sometimes the most powerful response is silence, not because you have nothing to say, but because your peace is worth more than proving a point. To walk away with dignity means you don't argue for closure. You don't demand understanding. You don't burn bridges to feel justified. You accept that pain does not always mean something went wrong. It often means growth is happening. There is deep Stoic wisdom in choosing restraint over reaction. When emotions surge, the instinct is to explain, to confront, to make sure the other person knows how much they hurt you. But reacting gives your power away. It keeps you emotionally tethered to what you're trying to outgrow. Dignified departure is quiet. It is firm. It does not announce itself. Epictetus taught that suffering comes not from events, but from our judgments about them. When you judge walking away as failure, it wounds you. When you see it as self-respect in action, it frees you. Yes, it hurts. But pain is not permission to abandon your principles. A Stoic leaves without bitterness, without insults, and without dragging the past into the future. They take the lesson, not the wound. And here is the final shift. When you can walk away without needing the last word, You no longer need validation from outcomes, which leads to the ultimate Stoic lesson: becoming the kind of person you are proud of, regardless of who stays or leaves. The final victory in Stoicism is not winning arguments, relationships, or approval. It is becoming someone you can respect when no one is watching. When you stop shaping yourself around who stays and who leaves, life becomes simpler and stronger. You no longer make decisions from fear of abandonment. You make them from alignment with your character. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." This is the Stoic path. Define your values, then live them consistently, without negotiating them for comfort or company. Pride, in the Stoic sense, has nothing to do with ego. It is quiet integrity. It is knowing that your actions match your principles, even when it costs you connection, approval, or temporary pleasure. When someone walks away and you remain whole, you discover something rare. Your worth was never dependent on their presence. And when someone stays, it is no longer because you begged or bent. It is because they chose you at your strongest. This inner stability changes how you move through the world. You speak less, but with more weight. You react less, but with more intention. You don't rush to replace what leaves, because you are not empty. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily to act in a way that would make him worthy of his own respect. That is the standard. Not admiration, not attention, not being chosen. When you live this way, relationships become a choice, not a need. Loss becomes information, not devastation. And solitude becomes strength, not punishment. You realize something profound. Nothing external can take your dignity unless you give it away. And that realization brings us to the final truth: why a Stoic who respects themselves never truly loses. You don't lose when someone walks away. You lose only when you abandon yourself to keep them. Stoicism doesn't teach you how to be liked. It teaches you how to be unshakable. When you protect your standards, guard your peace, stop proving your worth, and walk away with dignity, something changes. You stop needing approval, and you start earning respect. Not because you demanded it, but because you became it. If this message resonated with you, subscribe for more Stoic lessons on strength, self-respect, and inner freedom. Choose yourself, and you'll never truly lose again.